Alright guys, welcome back to Frugal Homestead. So today we're going to talk about a topic that no one really wants to discuss, but should be on our minds this time of year. So stay with us. I'm going to take you through how even we have messed up this year. So, as most of you know, we heat our house with this Daka wood burning furnace. I'm sure many of you heat your house or have supplemental heat from some kind of wood burning product. But what maybe you haven't thought about this year is fire safety. Now, this is an extremely excellent way to save some money and maybe even look at it like a passive income because you're not paying high electric or gas bills. But it can also make you lose everything in a blink of an eye. So we're going to start off real simply here with fire safety and dealing with wood burners, fireplaces, etc. Everyone's going to have its own kind of quirks and its own things. Some have dampers in the back, some have dampers in the front. There's all kinds of things. I'm just going to kind of share with you the things we look at in our system here. Yours may be different. Ours is outside in a building, yours may be in your house. But all the things I'm going to touch on here can kind of be converted to whatever situation you're in. So, the first thing I want to talk about, and the most important part, that every single home should have multiple spots in their house. But if you don't already, this is something to think about, is a fire extinguisher. Now let me tell you something. These are not cheap. These are not cheap. These are super expensive, especially the kitchen ones to put out grease fires. But this is an investment that can save your life, save your family's life, and is well worth every cent. That said, I'd say probably about 50% of the time, if you go in and talk to or call your local fire department, that they will be able to tell you how to get some kind of assistance to get some if you can't afford them, or a way that you can get them cheaper, or some kind of information that will lead you to being able to put new smoke detectors and new fire extinguishers in your house. Now the next thing I'd like to touch on is smoke detectors. Check your batteries, update them. They actually are very cheap now. I got Menards, I think I got like a 4-pack of the battery powered ones for about 11 or 12 bucks, and they've got the carbon monoxide sensor. So they're really not expensive. But the fact is, you need to have smoke detectors and you need to have fire extinguishers, especially if you have wood burning appliances. Now I told you guys we made mistakes. So as you can see, here's one of our mistakes. The floor hasn't been getting cleaned out when we bring in wood in, and when we get ready to fill the wood rack, this hasn't been getting swept out. So what happens here is this creates the ability for an ember to come out and catch on fire very easily. All this stuff is super dry. It could go up like nothing. Now, it's kind of hard to see, but I'll try and do it like that. That is actually sawdust. Now, most of this sticks to the wood from where I cut it with a chainsaw, which means that a good portion of this is oil soaked, which means it can go up like nothing. This is an area of concern because if I open this door, and we burn pine so it pops and crackles, and some hits here, this can all go up. If I fill it and don't see an ash go down there, and I leave and go in the house, this could all burn, catch that pile on the fire, then the whole building would go up. This is not acceptable. That's why I said I'm going to point out our mistakes to you guys. I want you to see them so you don't make the same mistakes. So I will sweep all this up and get it all out of here right now. Alright, so I got the floor cleaned up. That's a vast improvement. I now have a broom out here and a dustpan that I'm constantly going to keep out here. And I will make mention of it to my other family members. They all know this. We all just get busy at times. We just need to keep fire safety prevalent and in our thoughts at all times. Now, if you have a wood burner that has a blower, you're going to want to watch out for dust. Now, dust in itself is not the problem. The problem is when dust builds up too much, it catches dust bunnies and other things, pieces of lint, etc. Dog hair in our case, as it rotates air through. So if you've got a filter on it, obviously change and clean the filter. But just the dust buildup on these pipes around this wood burning furnace becomes flammable as it builds up too much. So it's generally a good idea to, at the minimum, sweep them off. It'd be much better to bring the shop vac out here and vacuum them up and then try to clean it out. Now, we do that on our yearly clean too. When we clean our wood burner and get it ready for next year's use, we will take a brush on the end of a shop vac and shop vac it all up. But right now I'm going to sweep them off just to at least knock it to the ground, and then I'll reach back in there with a shop vac in a couple days and clean up the floor. Something to consider: the seals on your door and the seals on your ash pan down below. Now, mine doesn't have a flue back in the pipe. Mine's all done from the front. But I can tell you what happens when the seal goes bad on the bottom on the ash pan. It draws air through and it can just get that fire going on a real windy night. Really changing those seals, you can buy kits to do it with the glue and everything for about $10 locally here in Ohio. Obviously it'll be different in your area, but it's worth a note that replacing those seals as needed will make you burn less wood, your wood burn will heat up better, be more efficient, and less prone to running away on windy nights. Running away can make this thing glow in the middle of the night, and that's a freaky spot to be when you're trying to damper down a fire that's running away. Just a note, changing out the seals on the doors and the ash pans and anywhere else generally is a real good idea. Alright guys, so now we got to come to the part that most people seem to have the biggest problem dealing with. If this is not accessible to you, or you do not have the equipment to do this, please hire a professional. Spend the money. Whatever it costs to have your chimney cleaned is far less than it would cost to lose everything you own to a house fire. I cannot stress this enough. Take the time, take the money to do this. Now, that said, I handle my own. We actually set this whole building up so I wouldn't even need to get a ladder. I've got a TV antenna tower over here that I climb to get up on my roof, pop the cap off, and then I have a brush with one extension pole, which is as far down as it can go in my system. Alright? Now, normally I would take a hand brush up and clean with a wire brush, clean the cap out. But as time goes on, I find that it's easier just to take it up there, and when I set it down, it knocks 90% off. This year we've been burning a lot of pine. We got given a lot of pine. Not exactly the best thing to burn, because it does add a lot of creosote to your pipe. So I will be cleaning out the wood burner 4 times this year. Alright, that's way overkill. But I like to be safe rather than sorry. If you're paying someone to come do it, doing it once a year is plenty. Alright, try not to burn pine, obviously, but generally speaking, once a year is plenty. Now, if you cannot afford this, alright, I have some Amish friends that showed me a really nice trick. You take a regular old log chain, heaviest you can find, put it down the pipe all the way, holding on to one end, and just pull up and down, going all the way around the pipe, round and round and round and round and round and round and round, until it all knocks all the goop off, okay? All the creosote, all the ash, all everything. Make sure it just knocks it all down. It does work. It's much more time consuming. It's super messy. And then stretch the chain out in your driveway, just let it get rained on. It'll wash all the soot off of it. But an Amish buddy of mine showed me that, because they don't put in full systems like this. They just put one solid piece of steel pipe up, and that's how they clean it. That said, I don't really like that situation on these stainless steel double and triple insulated kits. I think the brush created for them is far better, very cost effective at about $20. I think I paid, I don't know, $4 a piece for these poles. It's worth it. To me, it's just a low cost peace of mind. And this is basically what you'll see a lot of the regular guys that get up and clean chimneys use nowadays, unless they have the motorized version. So let me get up here, let's get this thing cleaned out. All right, now normally I would take and clean out and take the cap off with gloves. Welding gloves is usually what I use, but I didn't bring any with me today. I don't really get pressed about it. I take it off and I set it down for a minute and clean the pipe first. Yes, this is a very dirty job, especially when you've been burning pine. Now on mine, that's about all it takes. As you can see, I'm covered with crap now. It's not a clean job to do. That said, here comes the messy part. So I take this apart so I can take it back down. And I store it in the attic of my little wood burner building here. So I always have it. But this, my friends, is why if you have access to something other than pine, you should use it. That is what happens when you burn almost constantly pine. That is a fire waiting to happen. Remember I told you about runaway? Run away and get the flames coming up the chimney and set this on fire. It'll be bad. So that said, I can't even show you the rest of it down on the ground right now, but just a simple wipe off will suffice. And you can see how massive of an improvement that is. So normally I take a hand wire brush and wire brush it, but I've already done this about a month ago, so this is just another quick one. I'm being very cautious this year. For me, it's valuable to be cautious. So now the cap's basically cleaned off good enough. I'm not trying to make it perfect because, like I said, I do it 4 times a year. Or this year I'm doing it 4 times. Usually I do it 3. Put it back on there, lock it in, good to go. Yum yum. Now, check this out. That, my friends, was all on that cap. Look at that. There is a lot of soot and ash and flammable composite there. That's not good. All that can burn. Now, what I want to say to you guys is, be safe. Take care of you and your family. Invest the time, the energy, and the money into keeping yourselves safe. Fire is an amazingly warm heat source. And yes, it sucks to get covered in crap and be dirty. I'm dirty, but that's part of the game. I'll go inside, take a shower, but I can sleep well tonight knowing that me, my wife, my family, my granddaughter, anyone who's at my house is safe. We know that it's been taken care of, don't have to worry about it, don't have to deal with it. Now, if for some reason you cannot get up to get this done, or you can't afford to get it done, ask for help. Call your local fire department. They'll direct you to talk to people that can help you. All right? There's always help out there when you ask. It's when you're afraid to ask that you have problems. Now, I need to go take a shower because I'm a mess. But I can go on my day and feel good about the whole situation and not have to be constantly worried about the house catching on fire. That said, if you haven't already, go down, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, join the family by hitting the notification bell so you get to see all of our upcoming videos, and we will see you in the next one. It's getting kind of hot up here. I'm getting down.